With women limited by gender bias in many areas, Congresswoman Patsy Mink took a stand for women's rights by pushing Title IX, balancing the playing field, and allowing women to reach for the stars. Patsy Matsu Takemoto Mink was born in Paia, Maui on December 6, 1927, to Suimatsu Takemoto and Mitama Tateyama Takemoto. Both parents came to Hawaii to work on Maui sugarcane plantations.
At a young age, Patsy Mink recognized inequalities between the Caucasian people who owned the island's plantations and the Japanese and Filipino workers.
At Maui High School, Patsy Takemoto was the first female student body president and valedictorian in 1944. Takemoto wanted a career in medicine, so she attended the University of Hawaii for 2 years, then moved to Chambersburg, Pennsylvania to join Wilson College.
Disappointed in its science program, she moved to the University of Nebraska, where she joined other minorities to protest the university's policy of housing foreign students in a different campus facility. However, she returned home because of illness.
Upon her recovery, she studied zoology and chemistry at the University of Hawaii. Takemoto received her undergraduate degree in 1948, and in 1951 she married John Francis Mink and had a daughter named Gwendolyn. Mink started a private law practice and lectured on business law at the University of Hawaii.
In 1959, Patsy Mink ran for U.S. Congresswoman but lost to Daniel Inouye. In 1962, Mink ran again and was elected to Hawaii's Senate. 2 years later, she won a seat in the U.S. Congress and marked the beginning of a legacy that would last a lifetime.
In the 1900s, women were largely affected by gender bias and had limited opportunities in areas like sports and education. This deterred them from reaching their full potential and possibly having a contribution to society. Women were denied access and participation, their contributions were not acknowledged, and men were treated better and higher than women. One example was when Catherine Switzer was attacked in the 1967 Boston Marathon.
And all of a sudden, the flatbed truck is in front of us, and I heard the photographer saying, "Slow down, slow down, slow down." And they're taking pictures of us. On this truck was the race directors. One of them was a feisty character by the name of Jock Semple. He just stopped the bus, jumped off, and ran after me. Suddenly I turned and he just grabbed me and screamed at me, "Get the hell out of my race and give me those numbers." The journalists got very aggressive. "What are you trying to prove? Are you a suffragette? Are you a crusader?"
Eventually, it all smoothed out, and Catherine Switzer became the first woman to finish the Boston Marathon. Today, she is a commentator and pleased to see so many women participating. The WASPs, Women Aircraft Service Pilots, played an essential role in World War II, but weren't granted military rank until 1977, more than 30 years after their contributions were made. In the 1940s, the U.S. Air Force faced a shortage of pilots, so the U.S. military started hiring women as service pilots. The women pilots ferried planes from factories to military bases, tested newly overhauled planes, and towed targets for air and ground gunners to practice shooting. The program wasn't actually a military unit, they were a civil service unit, so when a couple of women died due to malfunctions with their airplane or crashed, the military didn't pay the fees to ferry the bodies back home to be buried. More than 60 years later, in 2010, the United States Congress finally recognized the contribution of the WASPs with a Congressional Gold Medal. Over 250 surviving WASPs received the award. The WASPs may not be the most decorated military unit, but they were one of the most influential that changed the world. Marjorie Molly Lay was a female bank teller at Bank of Hawaii in 1959. At that time, men bank tellers were paid more than women.
When I was hired as a teller in 1959, I was told that men tellers are paid on a higher pay scale than women tellers because men have families to support. There were no equal pay or gender bias laws at that time. Also, it was harder for women to get promoted into the supervisory or management ranks because it was believed that a woman supervisor would stay home whenever their children got sick. So when I was promoted to a supervisor in the late 60s, whenever one of my girls got sick, my husband would have to take off from work and take care of my children.
Hardworking women like my grandma, essential groups such as the WASPs, And strong female athletes like Catherine Switzer, along with many other women, struggled throughout history to participate in various events and show that they could contribute and help society. Women needed something that would even out the playing field between women and men. They were constantly treated unfairly, they had limited access and participation, and their contributions were not acknowledged. Something had to change.
In 1971, Congresswoman Edith Green and Patsy Mink recognized inequalities between men and women, so they decided to take a stand against gender inequality.
They began drafting Title IX, a law that would change the lives of women dramatically.
Title IX was a law that was aimed at protecting women's rights and preventing gender discrimination. It states, "No person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any educational program or activity receiving federal financial assistance."
When Title IX was revealed to Congress in the fall of 1971, it aroused strong feelings from some of the members. At the time, it seemed like Title IX would impact many women around the nation. Unfortunately, it wasn't received well by everyone. Many people in the world of sports and education were angry. They thought the law would take money away from boys' sports programs. People who opposed Title IX fought hard to change the law. These people wanted the law to be weaker. Others wanted to repeal the law completely. The law came close to being put out of effect.
Patsy Mink continued to campaign for the law during her political career. As of 2007, Title IX had gone back and forth between Congress 27 times. The fight for equal rights still isn't over, but Patsy Mink's work on it was legendary.
Title IX became an official law on June 23, 1972. It impacted women around the nation and changed America forever. It has started us on the road to gender equality and opened doors for American women.
Immediately after Title IX was passed and enacted, changes quickly occurred. It inspired many women to fight for what they believed in, it gave women courage, and it gave them more opportunities to participate. One example was the Battle of the Sexes in 1973. 55-year-old Bobby Riggs, a former Wimbledon champion, believed that he could beat any female player. Billie Jean King, a female tennis player, rose up to the challenge and beat Riggs in a best-of-5 set match. This 1973 tennis match between Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs changed women's views about themselves and inspired many who watched the match.
The whole reason I wanted to win the match, because I knew it was about social change, and I wanted to start the hearts and minds of people to start matching up with Title IX.
Sue Gunter, the coach with the third most wins in the women's NCAA coaching history, called a meeting with her team at Stephen F. Austin University in 1972. "I told my kids they could be on a scholarship the next year." "Wow, you've got to be kidding, coach. Why?" they asked. "Because of Title IX. Title IX inspired these players to work harder so they could possibly earn a college scholarship, which was nearly impossible years before." In the years that followed, amendments were made to Title IX, which strengthened equality and evened the playing field for women.
In 1972, there were only 294,000 women in high school sports, but in 2010, there were 3.2 million thanks to Title IX.
Title IX fueled women and gave them courage for many years to come.
Before Title IX, women were hugely affected by gender bias, making it difficult for them to have a positive impact on society. They were denied access and participation, their contributions were not acknowledged, and men were treated better than women. Patsy Mink and Edith Green realized the inequalities between men and women, so they drafted and passed a game-changing law. After the law passed, they continued amendments to keep the law effective and give women the same rights as men. Over time, women have shined in various fields such as education and sports. They've received more opportunities for better jobs to earn more money for their families and themselves. Patsy Mink's efforts with Title IX show how a couple of ordinary people can impact the world with courage and a dream. These women taught our generation that all people deserve an equal opportunity. Since Patsy Mink was such a big part of women's equal rights, they renamed Title IX the Patsy Mink Equal Opportunity Act after she passed away. Patsy Mink made a tremendous impact on society.